A very good evening to you all, and welcome to the second episode of the Extra Mile, an initiative by the prefect's body of St. Joseph's College. My name is Virendra Ramanayaka, and I will be your host for today's program. Today I have with me an exceptional student, renowned for his amazing achievement in the Advanced Level Examination by achieving Ireland ranked second in the Commerce stream, and on top of that, being a choir leader, as well as an Assistant Head Prefect of college. He is none other than Master Vindula Perera. Good evening, Aya.
Hi, Mali. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Aya. I hope you're keeping well given the current situation.
Yeah, it's going well. Obviously, it's a bit tough for all of us, but hanging in there. Yeah. I hope you are doing well as well.
That's great to hear you. Yes, sir. We are glad to have you on board with our project right now.
Thank you for having me.
All right, then. Let's get right into it. First off, Aya, you have spent 14 years in college. You must have some nostalgic memories of your journey in college. Can you name a few?
Yeah, sure, definitely, Viren. So, something that reminds me of college, something that evokes strong feelings. Obviously, I have made a lot of memories. I have so much memories with regards to college. Something that takes me back a long way is, I don't know whether you can remember, during primary school, I think you might have you might have done this as well. In the primary school grotto, there are huge mother tier at trees.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my fondest memories are rather collecting those mother tier atta and putting them into my pockets. I think that is a very fond memory I have. And of course, when I was small, during grade 1 and 2, the music, the Western music classes. So where I used to learn the college anthem, the national anthem. I think those are very nostalgic, Viren.
Okay. Yes, indeed. I think most of us have actually done that during our primary school. Those are some amazing memories. Yes.
I think if you don't do it, I think it's a huge loss.
Yes, yeah. So now, Arya, you were a chorister, which we all know you for, as well as the former choir leader of college. Can you take us through your journey in the choir?
Yeah, Viren. So I joined the choir when I was in grade 9. So I joined very late. Normally you join in grade 6 and move yourselves upwards.
Oh, yes,
but I joined in grade 9. One reason I didn't join was I was a bit reluctant and a bit laid back. But I'm glad that I joined, at least in grade 9. And that's one decision I don't regret at all. And one decision I'm very proud to have made. So I got the privilege and the honor of going to Rome and singing in front of Pope Benedict XVI as well, within a year of me joining the choir. So I think that was a huge blessing in disguise. On top of that, I was one of the very few choristers, to be quite honest, who sang in the choir, who took part in choral activities, even during my O-level year. So I actually believe that me doing well in my O-levels, the college choir has a lot, played a huge role in that, because that was kind of like my outlet to get my stress out. So I really enjoyed being involved in choir and choir-related activities during my O-level year as well. And that's something I would recommend a lot of choristers or a lot of individuals who are involved in extracurricular activities. Maybe not excessively sportsmen, but Interact Club, try to have that outlet where you can not only stress and focus on exams, where you can let off some steam through whatever you like to do rather.
Yeah, it's very admirable that you were able to actually continue extracurriculars even through a tough exam such as O-levels. Pretty great.
Yeah, you can say that, but I think if you really put your heart and soul into whatever you do, I think it's not impossible at all. As long as you know where your priorities lie, and if you can manage them accordingly, I think that's not a huge challenge. Even though it seems to be a huge challenge, that's because no one else has done it rather. So yeah, why not take it up as a challenge? And continuing with choir, so I was the choir leader, one of the choir leaders in 2015. And I think there are so many memories I can't pinpoint to one significant memory. I think all the choristers who are logged in will know if they were a part of my leadership here as to what we did. But to summarize a few things that we did, we won the IMSSS competition for the best choir in Sri Lanka, and we won that award. Then we performed a concert in the college chapel rather, called Lacrimosa, which was a Latin concert. And obviously, the annual events that the choir always sings for, which is the Christmas carols, the Easter program. So I played a pivotal role in my leadership here. Yeah.
Wow, you've done quite a lot in the choir, haven't you, Aya?
Yeah.
So now, Aya, a question that's on all of our minds: term tests. It's a tough time when it comes to student studies. What was your approach towards term tests, like in the middle school, for example?
Middle school. Okay, to be quite honest, Viren, I wasn't the most studious kid in middle school. I was actually the most average of average students. If there were 32 members in the class, I was always the 16th. So exact literal average.
Quite shocking to hear.
I know, and I don't know why lots of people find it very shocking, because I'm being very honest now. To be quite honest, when it came to term test in middle school, my only target was actually was to get through the exams. There were no ambitious plans back in those days, and actually, how I came across the importance of education and studying was very incremental. So I was never a person who was the brightest student from grade 1 onwards. No, I was never that person.
Wow, that's really inspirational, honestly, to be able to achieve that well towards the end. That's really great. I know we all have that one subject that we enjoy learning, right? I mean, when it comes to examples, that English paper that we all know that's going to be easy for us and it's just extremely stressful. Did you have a favorite subject like that time?
This was in middle school, you're referring to?
Yes, sir, in the middle school.
So in the middle school, I really enjoyed geography. I think I still do right now. Geography was one of my favorite subjects. There was a time in my life I could name all the countries and all the capitals. Unfortunately, my memory is not used for those purposes nowadays. Well, of course, yes, geography was one of my favorite subjects. Then, of course, Western music, because I had always had musical roots. It was easy and fun. So those were, I could say, my favorite subjects.
Okay. Aya, did you have a subject that you liked the least?
Liked the least. So very tricky question. So I've always found mathematics to be a bit challenging, especially when during my middle school days. So mathematics for me was a bit of a challenge, as well as probably all the subjects where bright students are good at, or rather were good at in middle school, I was finding it tough. Yeah.
And how did you exactly overcome that toughness? Did you have a specific approach towards it?
So middle school approaches, as I said, to get through the exams, but something extremely drastic happened to me. I think it was in grade 9, where I failed in maths. So I failed in a third term exam, and I was kept in the same class for one day, and I was not allowed to promote myself to the next grade. So that was the day that I got a real eye-opening as to, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? And I think from that day onwards, my antipathy towards mathematics, I think I wanted to do well in maths, and somehow I overcame that challenge of mathematics being hard. So constant effort, constant tiring went into me loving the subject first and doing well in it.
Wow, that's extremely inspirational, honestly, hearing from you. So now, Aya, what were the objectives and goals that you had as a student in college?
Right. So Wow, from where do you come up with these questions?
I
So
put some thought into it.
objectives and goals. So I'll be very frank with you. Middle school, my objective and goal was to go to college, to have fun, to be with my friends, and to have a good time. But then everything changed after that experience I had. And since then, and after joining the choir also, one of my main objectives was to do well in my studies. Very vague objective. But I think you have to have some sort of an objective if you're doing anything rather. So approaching monumental exams, be it O levels, A levels, I always tried to do my best and to get good results. So that was a moving or rather rolling objective I had throughout my school career. Yeah, Viren.
Now you referred to some monumental exams such as the O-levels, for example. It is the first public exam that students take part in. Yeah. Did you have a specific strategy that you had like for O-levels? Because you were involved in a lot of extracurricular activities as well.
Yeah, so O-levels, Viren, my aim was to be comfortable with all the subjects by the time I go and face the exam rather. So what I did was there were two buckets in my head. So one easy bucket and one hard buckets of subjects. Okay. So subjects like English, Western music, religion, those subjects were very easy. So what I did was I strategized. I'll pay minimum effort on the easy subjects and I'll focus on the hard subjects. So subjects which were hard for me were naturally maths, science, and history, very, very special history. So those subjects, what I did was I put in a lot of effort to those subjects and I toned down on the easy subjects because I knew I could tackle and I could do well. So I think that's one strategy I used. And of course, I was one of the, I think there were many students. I was one of the students who never missed school intentionally or otherwise. So even if I very sick, I try to go and go to school and listen to the teachers because I believe that most of the things that I remember, I have heard it. So that's why I want to stress the importance of going to class and listening to your teacher. I think that is one thing I did right, even from the O-level days.
Wow, yes, sir. That paid you off a great deal, didn't it?
Yeah, because once you listen to the teacher, it's like half of your work is done. You don't have to go through the notes of a class where you haven't been to all over again because you have that sense of idea. Okay, this is what was taught. I have a small understanding regarding this. Okay, I'll pay a little bit less attention and focus on more critical areas. So I think that really helped me.
Okay. Now, before we dive into your time as an A-level student, can we know what motivated you to go for such an achievement? Like since the start of your A-levels, did you have like a certain goal that you wanted to achieve Island Rank 7? Or was that completely unexpected?
The Island Rank, no. I had never in my wildest dreams imagined of an Island Rank. Even after the day I wrote the final exam of the advanced level, I never had that impression that I would get an Island Rank. So I wasn't motivated to get an Island Rank per se. So what I was motivated was to do my best because I was at this crossroads. Okay, if I'm doing A-levels, I have to do it right. You know, I can't afford to do it half-heartedly and not achieve a result that I could have achieved. So that was one of my worst fears. And so I think I could say from day one, that was my objective, to do my best and give it my all. And after you establish an objective like that, which is impersonal, you know, it's not focused on competition, it's not focused on anything exterior, it's focused on yourself. Once you establish a goal and work towards that, what I realized was day by day, it keeps on increasing, it keeps on adding up, meaning every day which passes, you become the best version of yourself. So I think that was one of the best learning experiences I've had with regards to that, the entire A-level journey. So yeah.
Okay, right. So now let's get into the details of your A-levels. Firstly, why did you choose the local commerce stream? And like, how was your experience in it?
So local commerce, good question. So I said I had a tough time with science and maths, right? So
yes,
I wasn't motivated enough to be a doctor or an engineer, unfortunately. So bio was definitely out for me. Maths, yes, I tend to love the subject after completing my O-levels because I really enjoy the subject after that bitter experience in middle school as well. So I was at that crossroads. Is it local maths or is it local commerce? So what I did was I had to make a choice. So that choice was a factor of a lot of things. So one factor was, okay, do I have enough time to commit myself to extracurriculars? That was one factor. You commit yourself to extracurriculars and you try to do your studies well. Also, you have to balance both. So that was when I decided, okay, look here, even though I love maths, I may not be in a position to pursue it whilst engaging in other extracurricular activities well. So that's where I decided, okay, commerce is the way to go.
I know, looking back, you made the right decision, didn't you?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Aya, can you take us through an average day as a student in your shoes during your A-levels? And what was your plan to tackle the 3 subjects?
All right. So average day, yeah, it's very hard to define an average day, to be quite honest with you. But I'll tell you what my average school day was. So in the morning, wake up at around 5:45, be at school at 6:30 to do prefect's duty. Okay, so I was a prefect. And then do morning duty, do morning prayer duty. And I was one of the very few people in our section to go to the class early after prefect's duty. So I can remember, I think my A-level class teachers will also testify. If the prayers end at 7:45, I'll be at my desk by 7:55 with an ST. I don't know whether you have heard of an ST.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I come to class with my ST, drinking it on the way. So very American, I know. But yeah, so that was how I start my day. And as I told earlier, I would go to class because I want to listen to my teachers teaching, and that itself was actually a factor of assurance that okay, I can get first-hand experience of what is taught to me. And then so after school I'd go home and refresh myself, relax a bit, and then I'll start studying. So studying for me was a nighttime affair. You can call me a night owl to be specific. I found that nighttime is the best time for me to grasp things properly. It can change from person to person, I agree. But for me, that was my trick. So on average, you can say that I studied about 1.5 to 2.5 hours per day. But of course, towards the end, during the study leave time and during grade 13, I amped it up more, justifiably so. And yeah, so that was my average day, Viren. Anything else you want to know?
Yeah, now you mentioned like in the morning you had prayer duty. Like you obviously had to take care of the small children as well as the old ayahs, and you were basically taking care of the school. Now, weren't you tired when you went to class in the morning? How exactly did you balance your studies and your extracurriculars so well?
Tired when you go to class? Yeah, okay, fine. I get what you're saying. So can you repeat that question again, Viren? I couldn't.
Yes, and now what I was saying was that after your extracurriculars, for example, you feel tired, right?
Okay.
And I mean, like
Okay.
some people, for example, will take that break when it's given to them. But you somehow put that effort in to balance your studies with your extracurriculars, like your prefectship, for example.
Yeah.
How exactly did you do that?
Yeah, so that was a game of prioritizing, Viren, because I have many, I think even in your batch, there may be people who are totally into one thing and who excel in one thing, which is perfectly fine. But to balance both, you can't do that. There has to be a sort of a satisfying point where you have to say, okay, look here, I've spent enough and more time on this. Let me focus on the other. So I think I tried to find that perfect split between A and B, A and B and C. So I think that's what worked for me, and that's what will work for anyone, rather.
Okay, right. Yeah. Now, A levels is a tough time for all students. We've all been through their experience. What exactly were the challenges that you had to face during your A levels?
During my A levels, okay, one of the it's weird because I was blessed enough to be extremely focused during my levels, which I don't think is the case for many. So most of my challenges were, of course, when you grow up, you have those challenges as well, which are inherent to growing up. I had those as
Yes.
well. But when it came to studies, I had this conflict of subject content being taught in college and in tuition classes. So there was a mismatch of content being taught. As opposed to those issues and those challenges, I may have had huge challenges, but recalling back to those days, I think I was very focused, Viren.
Okay, yeah. Right, right. Now, you were focused, yes, but did you have something on the side that every day in the morning just motivated you? Like that daily motivation? Because some of us, we need that, right? Keep going without getting lazy or tired. Just keep pushing through.
Yeah, to be quite honest, I don't want to sound boastful. I really wanted to do my best every single day. And I wanted to show people that okay, look here, that you can do this. So I'm not being boastful at all, but I think what really drove me was actually me being the best version of myself every single day. And I think, yeah, I mean, there are many modes and avenues for you to be motivated. That's totally fine. As you all learn, there are two ways of motivation. There's external motivation. You look at someone, you admire that person, and you motivate. And then there's self-motivation, where you, through your struggles, through your experiences and hardships, you decide, I have to get through this, and I have to do my best and to make a name for myself. So I think I fell to the latter part because I didn't have any individual who motivated me per se. Because back in those days, an island ranking Josephian was not heard of. So I didn't have that luxuries.
Right idea. Okay. You were both a senior prefect and an assistant head prefect of college. Can you take us through your journey in the prefect's body and what's your perspective on it?
Roster first? I couldn't get that question. The last.
What's your perspective on being a prefect in college?
Perspective. Fine. Sorry. Okay. So yeah. So I joined the prefect's body in 2012. That was 9 years ago, as a steward. Yeah. So I think it is one of the best decisions that I've ever taken because I considered, and I still consider, the experiences that I learned during my prefectship actually fed some character into me, and it helped me, and it still helps me in certain cases to deal with people, to associate and to negotiate and to have relations with people. And I think prefectship was rather one of the best avenues for me to learn all those techniques and skills. Prefectship has been wonderful, Viren. So I was a senior prefect. I think one of the most fondest memories as a senior prefect, I could say, was doing duty in Matara. I think all prefects have that luxury or the blessing to do duty at Matara for the feast. And I think in 2015, we got that rare opportunity to do duty for a papal event. So our prefects, as well as some other volunteers, we did duty for the papal mass. So the Pope had a mass at the Golf Face Green. So we had to do some duty there. So I think that was pretty amazing and blessed, to say the least.
Yeah. Wow, it's great to hear. Now, Aya, the last 3 months before A-levels, pretty hectic time for students. How did you spend your last 3 months leading up to A-levels? How was your experience in the A-level week itself as well?
Let me first tackle the last 3 months of A-levels, and let's get to the week of A-levels. So last 3 months of A-levels was challenging. It should be challenging. Why? Because even though how much you're confident with the content that you have learned throughout the past 1 year and 9 months, you have that voice inside your head saying, okay, have you done enough? Have you done enough? So I think I had that challenge. And what I did was, actually my short notes greatly aided me. So in the last 3 months, what I did was I revised and I did a lot of questions. And in that way, I knew where I was weak in, and I improved myself in those areas. With regards to the A-level week itself, it has to be said it was one of the most anxious and stressful weeks. But I think after doing the papers, that's when I realized at least what can you say? I worked hard, and I somehow.
So then it made your exam actually a little bit less stressful.
In a way, yes. But the thing with, it doesn't work for everyone. So different people. You could study amazingly. You can prepare for the exam, and you can crumble and fall during the examination. Or you can not study well, and you can get amazing results as opposed to someone who has studied well. So it's all a game of nerves, to be quite honest. And how can you manage your nerves in the best possible way? So I think one thing our college has that no other school I think has is before every exam, we have the opportunity of attending mass. And I think that was a very stress relieving activity, in the sense that you're committing your work and your effort to God, and you're telling God, okay, I have done my best, you do the rest. So I think that sense of assurance kind of calmed my nerves. But I'll be very honest, it was nervous. It was a very nervous time. Viren.
Okay, so actually your involvement in religion gave you a certain sense of stress relief in those hard moments, right?
Yeah, you could say that, because, and even as I said earlier, choir, as in you have to have that sort of outlet where you can relieve your stress, because if you let it accumulate, I don't think it's very good for you. So
yes, sir.
I think, yeah.
Now, I'm a little curious to know your result. It's just phenomenal, right? Being Island ranked second, how did you find out about it? And what was your reaction to the whole thing?
So that's a very funny story, Viren, how I found out about it. So what happened was, I was asleep, and at 6:30 I get a call from one of my dear friends, and what he said was, Vindula, the results have come. What are your results? Um, I didn't want to check my results, number one, because I was so sleepy. And I quickly ended the conversation in a polite way. And then, in a very slumber way, I texted, and you get the results. So I really wanted 3 A's, to be quite honest with you. So I was looking out for those 3 A's to appear, and yeah, there were those 3 A's, and I was very happy. And at the bottom, it said island rank 2 and district rank 2. At that moment, I thought it was some mistake. I thought it was a random error which was sent to everyone. And so what happened was, I slept, and then I was woken up by countless messages and telephone calls, and one funny message from Daily Mirror, which got to my mother's eyes. That was when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm the second in the island. And since then, that entire day is a blur to me still, because that is something that was very unexpected and something that I never thought I'd achieve. Yeah.
Wow, that's it's amazing. Now, you were an extremely successful student in school. Like, you achieved a lot during your school career. What would you say was the secret to your success?
Secret to success. So I would say the sheer fact that I took a risk, that I went all in, and that I was in a certain extent vulnerable, and committed myself towards a cause. I think that was my secret to success, and being focused.
Okay, right. Now, staying on that topic, can you give us some insight on some questions students generally have? Now, firstly, did you find studying in the morning or night more effective? You said night, right?
Yeah, I said night.
Personally?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It
could change from person to person, Viren. It's a very personal choice. Yeah.
Okay. How did you organize your notes? And was there any particular method you used, such as short notes? And some people, they just had the textbook and memorize it. How did you approach it?
So, when doing A levels, you don't have textbooks, so I didn't have that luxury. So I took down notes. Actually, yeah, I wasn't very much keen on taking down notes in middle school or even in O levels, but it was in A levels that I really tidied up my notes, so that it is in a presentable way, and it was pleasant for me to refer afterwards. And with regards to short notes, yes, I made for 2 of my subjects. So what I did was, I took an A4 paper, I folded it into 2. So now you have 4 sides. So that was how I maintained my short notes. And yes, short notes really helped, because towards the end, I think it's always good to maintain your system of taking down notes in a very brief way, so that you can refer quickly, and if you forget something, you can refer quickly and then face a question.
Right. Yes, that's true. Did you have any tactics that you used to stay fresh when you were tired?
I used to drink milk a lot.
In our school canteen, it's very popular.
Yes. Yeah. Nestea. I mean, even Nestea. Nestea is my favorite drink, by the way, when I was schooling. So when studying at home, even I would drink a glass of milk. I still do. I used to eat. I am not sponsoring. I'm not talking advertising or anything. An entire Mari packet. Dunk it in tea or milk and just eat it. That will keep me fresh and energetic. And sometimes I'll be insomniac in I can't get the word. I'll stay awake at night as well, because of the sugar rush. So that's how I you could say refresh myself while I was studying here.
Right. Aya, can you share how important staying committed to your studies was? The reward for you was obviously really great. How important was that to you?
That's a very subjective question, Viren.
Okay.
I can say studies is everything. Studying, memorizing.
Aya, for you personally, what was it?
For me personally, is your question why is it important?
Yeah, well, how important was studies to you?
It was important for me because I knew that I was very good at it, and if I commit more, I'd be better at it. I mean, that was one of the objectives I had during my A-level time. So in middle school, I didn't realize it. In O-levels, okay, it hit me, and in A-levels only I implemented it. But
Right.
this sense of importance can be different from person to person. So sometimes you may not be very good at studies inherently. That's totally fine. I mean, our education system is unfortunately based on an examination system which expects children to memorize something and write it on a piece of paper, which I think is absurd. So, I mean, if you are one of those students who are struggling with studies and you're desperately trying to make an attempt at studying, I'd say good for you. I mean, you're doing what you have to do, and it's fine if you don't get good results because at least you're trying. Meaning, you will definitely be better at something else. I mean, good at something else, which would be more rewarding for you. So it's very subjective. But as a student who is obliged to go to school, I think studies should be your priority. So that's where I leave it.
So then, Aya, what you're saying is for a student that is struggling with the studies, like just finding it too hard to study those notes, write those exams, that it's good enough if you give your best try, right?
Well, don't take me wrong here, Viren.
Okay.
What I'm saying is there are some people, children, students like me, who might be in grade 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, who was not very much into studying, who didn't give the effort into studying.
Right.
For them, I'll say you have to take that first step and give it a chance. You have to take the first step and study, make an effort, and try and see. And that is what I would say to everyone who's not giving it their all at the moment. So, in the case of a person who gives their all and still ends up in a not so desirable state, for them, I say, for them, first of all, I really admire them. And in addition, I would say you're going to be great at something and you're going to be amazing, but you still haven't found it yet.
Okay. Right. Aya, we've all had those embarrassing moments in school, those moments that we just don't want to recall. Did you have some of those moments when you were in school?
I think, so many moments. I think most of my public moments in school have been embarrassing moments. But I would say one of the most embarrassing moments, I would say, I think happened in grade 9. So it was on Rector's Day. 4 days before Rector's Day, I was approached by a teacher, and that teacher wanted me to do a felicitation of Reverend Father Rector, who was Father Sylvester Reminiscing at that time, during an assembly. I did a very stubborn thing. So what I did was, I was a bit too stubborn, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to the podium rather, and I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna freestyle it, So it was very idiotic of me to do that. So on the day on that podium, I screwed up the speech. I literally, I don't know what I said. Luckily, there was a part of the speech where I had to end with a hymn. So I sang the hymn well, and because of that, I saved some grace. But that was to this day. I mean, it was one of the most embarrassing days in college for me because everyone noticed how terrible I was.
Okay. Okay. Now you've gone a great journey in your school, right? Your school life, you've done a lot of things. You've obviously achieved some of the greatest achievements that you can ever do. Are there any regrets that you have regarding your school career that you wish you could have done?
Regrets. Yeah, there are a few, but I don't dwell on them rather. So I wish I had done drama in school because now only I feel the importance of taking part in and really expressing myself, to be quite honest. And of course, it's not a huge regret, but I regret not doing any sports, meaning fully committing myself towards any sports because I would have, it was a choice between time and, it was a choice between time and doing that sport. So yeah, I think those two were my biggest regrets. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Now, after you received your results, what decisions did you make and how has your higher education journey been so far?
Yeah, Viren. So after getting the results, I consulted a lot of teachers and elders, and I decided, okay, I should enter the University of Sri Jayewardenepura because that's where most of the top rankers in the commerce stream go to. So currently, I'm in my fourth year doing the degree, majoring in finance. So that was one decision I made. And also I started doing ACCA right after I got my results. So I think those two decisions were the decisions I took in terms of education. Yeah.
Okay. Now, as a university student, you obviously have to do the online learning as well that we're all going through. How did you adapt to this new online learning system and what advice could you give to the other students that are going through it as well?
Yeah. To answer that question, Viren, to be quite honest, the first few weeks I found it a bit difficult because you're learning at your own house. So there's way too much room for distractions. And so my first challenge to overcome those distractions was to again recalibrate myself and be focused. So what I did was, since I have a knack of listening to lectures very attentively, I listened to my lectures attentively. And one advantage I found actually in online learning was anything that the lecturer teaches, you can instantly search it up, which is something that a classroom-based education environment does not provide. So maybe the next time you guys learn in class, you can check out whether your teacher is teaching the correct thing. So advice from me to you with regards to online learning is, again, don't be lazy to take down notes. Just because the teachers are not there, just don't wait without taking down notes. Because I think taking down notes, listening, I think it all plays a part of you internalizing the subject content. So if you don't take down notes and if you play PUBG while listening to the teacher, you will be losing out on both those things. You're not doing anything properly. So might as well do one thing, meaning attend the classes attentively. And even if you miss a class, make sure that you recap. I mean, you can rewatch it, right? You all have the
yes, sir. With online learning, that is an option.
Yeah. So you can always go back and listen to your teacher's teaching and try to do it as soon as possible. Don't let everything pile up. Sometimes that happens, and it's not very productive, and it's not recommended at all. So yeah, and once again, I think online learning will be with us even after the pandemic because it's more efficient. It's more far-reaching. It's more you can. I mean, it's not as you can't substitute it to in-person teaching, but it has its own benefits. So even when you are doing higher education, you might be faced with that. What can you say? It can be an option, or it could be something inherent to that course where you learn via online mechanisms. So that being said, it won't be a huge part in your life once things get back to normal, hopefully. So yeah.
Okay, right. So now that we have come to the final question of today's program, is there any final message that you could give the Josephian family during these tough times? We're all staying at home, we are bored, we're trying to do online school, and it's honestly an extremely tough time for students, especially. What message could you give to them?
I would say, first things first, this pandemic is going to end. So this will not be there forever. So don't be demotivated rather. We are going to get through this. We have gone through worse times in history. As students, I would say, be focused. If you're facing your A-levels very soon, have a goal, set an objective. It could be 3 A's, it could be simply passing. It depends on your capabilities and your strengths. I would say, I think it's the perfect time for you during this lockdown period to assess yourself, to weigh your strengths and weigh your opportunities, and do a very thorough self-assessment, so that once this lockdown is over and once you're entering school yet again, you can really go forward as motivated and inspiring people. I think my advice for you all is, for everyone rather, is stay focused, stay driven, try to find a way to spend the time in a very productive manner. I think which is very hard because most of us, as you said, are bored and probably sleeping all the time. So yeah, I would say stay motivated, stay focused, and stay driven.
Okay, thank you. Well then, that brings us to the end of today's program. Thank you, Vindula, once again for joining us.
No worries, Viren, and thank you for having me. And I want to thank the prefect's body of St. Joseph's College, led by Ashan, for creating this opportunity and platform for myself and for amazing individuals I think you all have in store. So I think all of us as Josephians would have something or two to learn from all of them rather. And basically, yeah, be better at everything we do.
Thank you, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who joined today's session of the Extra Mile. We hope that you were able to take away something of value from this program. Join us again next week, and together, let's all find the strength to go the extra mile and get through this challenge together as one Josephian family. Till then, stay safe and God bless you.